India, particularly the national capital of the country, has a massive solid waste garbage problem. As you can see, a mounting one. But the government says this right behind me, a waste to energy plant, is the solution. It takes all the waste and converts it into energy. Sounds like the greenest of all revolutions, doesn't it? But is it that simple? Is that really the solution? The national capital, the seat of power, is home to more than 20 million people and produces about 11,000 tons of municipal solid waste.
So the fraction of combustible waste in all the waste that we produce is about 30-35%. And let me imagine that of this 30-35%, about 10% is actually non-recyclable, because if it is recyclable, there is no way you can send it for burning in a waste to energy plant, because it has value otherwise. It can be recycled into new products and it can be sold.
Delhi has seen a consistent increase in waste production over the years, peaking in 2018-2019 with a 3.3% reduction the following year. The national capital has seen the sharpest growth from 400 tons per day in 1999-2000 to over 10,000 tons per day in 2019-2020. This is the Timmarpur waste to energy plant in Delhi. There are 4 such plants in Delhi. This is one of them. But the problem particularly with this one is that it is in a densely populated residential area. That's where the problem really starts. Well, the government believes that waste to energy plants can solve our waste management problems, which is a huge problem. We do understand that. It's normal for them to expect this. But is this plant really solving the problem? Is the big question here.
If waste is to generate any appreciable amount of electricity without causing too many emissions and producing too much ash, then it has to have a basic calorific value. There's no enforcement of segregation of waste in Delhi, and that's where the problems begin. If there is no segregation of waste, that means you're going to have mixed waste going into the waste to energy plants, and that's where you have large amounts of emissions, toxic emissions, and a large amount of ash that you don't know what to do with.
If you ask me whether it is a violation of the law, the way we are currently operating the waste to energy, it's a yes. It's a complete violation of the law, because there is no way we can send mixed waste to these plants for incineration. So that is one issue. The other issue is the solution is very simple and it's very fundamental. It's a very fundamental waste management principle, that the waste must be separated by the producer, like me and you, like an institution, like a commercial establishment. It should at least be segregated in dry and wet waste. So we need to engage with the citizen, raise awareness, sensitize them, explain the benefit of segregation, because now waste is no longer waste. You cannot send mixed waste to a waste to energy plant anywhere, not just in Delhi but anywhere. Okay, that is exactly where the problem is.
Why is it mixed waste coming up? Besides, of course, it's a profitable business for someone, but otherwise, because you're not implementing the solid waste management bylaws, and that is why all the waste gets mixed and then it ends up into the landfills, which are now mounting, or the waste to energy incinerator, where it's being burnt.
Municipal solid waste is burnt in a high temperature furnace, generating heat that produces steam. This steam then drives turbines connected to generators producing electricity. First, the waste is collected and transported to the facility, where it undergoes sorting to remove recyclables and hazardous materials. The remaining waste is then fed into the incinerator, where temperature can reach up to 1000 degrees Celsius. As the waste burns, it releases gases that are carefully controlled and filtered to reduce harmful emissions. The heat generated boils water to create steam, which powers the turbines. While this process does generate electricity, it also produces two types of ash, bottom ash and fly ash. Both types of ash require careful handling and disposal in scientifically managed landfills to prevent environmental contamination. It is this ash and the poor disposal that is creating these problems.
Until recently, they had no policy on how to dispose of the ash. When you can't make bricks, you have to dump it somewhere. And if you dump it carelessly, it's going to leach into the water, the dust is going to fly around, and you have to transport it to where you can dispose it. So, in the case of Sukhdev Vihar, the plant is located very far away from a landfill. The law requires that the plant be located near a landfill.
The fly ash is coming into their balconies. They're seeing those emissions every single day. At some point, we even started collecting this fly ash and, trying to send it to the political leaders and the policy makers and thinkers that, maybe that makes a difference. So, dekhiye. But obviously, it's not worked. So, wherever this is being dumped is a very big issue, because you're also risking the lechet going into the water and poisoning the water of Delhi.